America's next president. The race is on. The 2024 United States presidential election will be the 60th quadrennial presidential election, scheduled for Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. It will be the first presidential election after electoral votes are redistributed according to the post-2020 census reapportionment. Incumbent President Joe Biden stated in January 2022 his intent to run for re-election to a second term, with Vice President Kamala Harris as his running mate. Welcome to Facts Insight. If you want more videos like this one, visit this page for only Facts Insights. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and give a like. Who is running for president in 2024? Number 1. Joe Biden. Joe Biden runs in a Democratic Party in less than 2 months after his 2021 inauguration. President Joe Biden announced his intention to run for re-election in 2024, with Vice President Kamala Harris joining him on the ticket once again. Biden is a career Democrat who's garnered a reputation for speaking his mind on issues he supports. In 2012, he made history for announcing his support of same-sex marriage before the Obama administration had a chance to sign off. After beating out a strong pool of Democratic candidates in the 2020 presidential primaries, he faced incumbent President Donald Trump, securing both the popular vote and Electoral College. President Biden is an obvious frontrunner in the 2024 election. Though his lackluster approval ratings over issues surrounding the economy and his age have left some members of his own party questioning whether he can pull off another win. Since the 2022 midterms, in which Democratic candidates massively overperformed, retained control of the Senate, and picked up new governor seats, he has gotten a bit more credit. Many Democratic hopefuls in the recent presidential elections, such as Vice President Harris, Senator Bernie Sanders, and Senator Elizabeth Warren, have used Biden's plans to run again as a reason for staying out of the 2024 election, creating leeway for them to change their mind if Biden decides to sit the next cycle out. Number 2. Donald Trump. Donald Trump, who runs in a Republican Party, twice impeached and full of controversy, former president is far more from the ideal candidate to lead the Republican Party in 2024. But he's proven before that he can command an audience, perhaps too well, after a mob of his supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol on his behalf to try and keep him in power after losing re-election to Joe Biden. And that's enough to make him a serious contender. Trump left the White House on a sour note, with members of his own party turning on him for his role in the January 6, 2021 insurrection. Since leaving office, several former staffers have come forward with shocking allegations about his conduct, and he continues to be the subject of multiple criminal investigations. Still, Trump has stayed active in politics, campaigning for far-right candidates through the midterm election cycle. His endorsees fared poorly at the polls, contributing to Republicans losing important races and suggesting the unpopularity of election denialism. But it didn't faze him. On November 15, 2022, he formally declared his candidacy in the 2024 presidential election. Number 3. Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams, running in a Democratic Party, is one of the People's 2021 Women Changing the World. Continues to be a rising star in the Democratic Party, credited with mobilizing the masses and helping turn Georgia blue in the 2020 election for the first time in nearly 30 years. That said, the Peach State has remained her focus thus far, as she sought the Georgia governorship for a second time in 2022, ultimately being defeated. Abrams has openly declared her intention to run for president at some point in her career, but has not yet suggested that 2024 is the year. Up until recently, she had planned to be in the governor's mansion until at least 2028. Now that she will not be carrying out a full term in Georgia, it's unclear if she'll face pressure from Democrats to speed up her timeline. Number 4. Pete Buttigieg. Unknown to the world only a few years ago, the former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, quickly entered the conversation when he announced plans to run for president in the 2020 election. Pete Buttigieg placed 5th in the primaries after dropping out of the race and endorsing Joe Biden. He currently serves as the Secretary of Transportation for the Biden administration and has been deemed the most likely Democratic replacement for President Joe Biden by political strategists. Buttigieg is a former naval officer who served in Afghanistan, graduated from Harvard before attending Oxford University as a Rhodes Scholar. He has proven whip-smart when it comes to policy, political strategy, and foreign affairs, aided by his knowledge of 8 languages and experience on multiple high-profile political campaigns, including John Kerry's 2004 presidential campaign. If voted the United States' 47th leader, Buttigieg, a proud Christian, would become the youngest elected president sworn into office and the first openly gay president. Number 5. Liz Cheney. Representing Wyoming in the House of Representatives since 2017, Liz Cheney, daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, has earned bipartisan respect as a voice of reason during increasingly popularized times. Following the January 6, 2021 Capitol riots, Cheney was one of 10 Republicans to vote in favor of impeaching Donald Trump, a move that quickly cost her the title of third-ranking House Republican after representatives voted to remove her as chairman of the party's House caucus. Since 2021, Cheney has repeatedly doubled down on her opposition of Trump, even vice-chairing the House committee organized to investigate his role in the Capitol riots. As a result, she has been ostracized by the outer reaches of the Republican Party and lost her uphill battle to re-election to a Trump-backed candidate in August. But even after getting booted from Congress, she remains proud of her choices, saying her oath to defend the Constitution transcends her status as an elective conservative. While Cheney has not formally revealed plans to run for president in 2024, she has repeatedly entertained the idea, and after losing her bid for another term in the House over the summer, she said she would be making a decision on her future plans in the coming months. "I won't let a former president or anyone else unravel the democracy," she previously told Today's Savannah Guthrie in 2021, "whatever it takes." Number 6. Ted Cruz. After President Trump lost re-election in 2020, Texas Senator Ted Cruz began branding himself as the next far-right leader to stand up for Trump-era values. He became a vocal proponent of overturning the 2020 presidential election results and backed baseless claims of voter fraud, while continuing to preach his conservative views on COVID-19 mandates, gun rights, and immigration. Cruz, who came in second to Trump in 2016's Republican presidential primaries, has, like Trump, proved an expert at sparking controversy, after losing his battles in the court of public opinion. But he carries on, clinging to the support of an extremist base overlapping with one that helped send Trump to the White House. The former Solicitor General of Texas has not declared candidacy yet, but has repeatedly hinted at the possibility, even telling a teenager-run conservative media outlet that he would do it in a heartbeat, adding there's a reason historically that the runner-up is almost always the next nominee. That all depends on whom else joins the race, though, as Trump and some other fresher faces in the Republican Party could cast a shadow over his campaign. Number 7. Ron DeSantis. As Florida's governor, Ron DeSantis has characterized the division that encapsulates the state's political makeup. A hero among right-wing conservatives and a proud enemy to others, he riles up a similar base as Trump, posing a threat to the former president if he was to seek the Republican nomination. Though he previously downplayed his intentions to run for president, he is widely considered a top contender in the 2024 race. In a July poll conducted by the New York Times, Siena College, DeSantis was the most popular alternative to Trump in a hypothetical question about which rumored candidate Republicans would support in 2024. After the November midterms, in which DeSantis garnered more enthusiasm than Trump's candidates, he may now be in an even stronger position. DeSantis has dominated headlines since assuming the office of governor as the commander-in-chief of America's culture wars, restricting voting rights, enacting Florida's Don't Say Gay law, politicizing the concept of critical race theory, pushing to ban gender-affirming medical care, refusing to order COVID vaccines for young children, and scolding students wearing masks, acknowledging that DeSantis lacks the charisma Trump has. A political insider tells People, he is shrewd and makes sure he looks like he is doing the right thing. His talent? He's a leader unruffled by controversy. Prior to becoming governor in 2019, DeSantis represented Florida in the U.S. House of Representatives. Number 8. Nikki Haley. On June 30th, the former South Carolina governor and U.S. ambassador to the United Nations under President Trump told reporters in Iowa that she is open to running for president in 2024, if there's a place for me. The Des Moines Register reported that Nikki Haley said, "I've never lost a race. I'm not going to start now. I'll put 1,000% in and I'll finish it." Days before those comments, she told Fox News that she will reveal her decision about running early in 2023. In a July poll conducted by the New York Times, Siena College, Haley was tied with Mike Pence for 4th place in a hypothetical question about which rumored candidate Republicans would support in 2024. Since then, she seems to have faded out of the conversation more as Pence and DeSantis take center stage. Haley has been a supporter of Trump since he earned the Republican Party nomination in 2016, later calling him a friend and tweeting in January 2021 that she was really proud of the success of the Trump administration. Following the deadly Capitol riots, she delivered a mixed message on her support of Trump, at once bashing his critics and calling his actions a letdown. Later in 2021, she said that if Trump runs for president again, she will support him and not contest him, adding another layer of uncertainty if his declaration of candidacy will keep her from moving forward. Number 9. Kamala Harris. The United States Vice President to President pipeline is well established, beginning with the nation's first VP, John Adams, who went on to succeed George Washington. Since then, we've seen 14 additional VPs ascend to the highest office, the most recent being our current Commander-in-Chief, Joe Biden. Kamala Harris, an experienced attorney who climbed the political ranks relatively quickly, could be the next to vie for the White House if her boss doesn't run again. Harris first gained prominence in her home state of California as the District Attorney of San Francisco, which ultimately earned her a 6-year stint as the California Attorney General. She served as the junior senator of California for only 4 years before being sworn in as vice president. If she were to run for presidency in 2024, she would have a head start due to her familiarity with the role and obvious qualifications. But in order to find success, she'll need to win members of her party back who have equated her with Biden's ill-received performance. It will not be an easy task, but neither was becoming the nation's first female, first Black, and first Asian vice president. Number 10. Josh Hawley. Formerly the Attorney General of Missouri, Senator Josh Hawley unseated Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill in 2018 to become the Show Me State's junior senator. In his short tenure, he has become routinely headline-making official, often for participating in or spearheading culture wars. Equated by many to Senator Ted Cruz for his loyalty to Trumpian beliefs, political strategists have poised that Hawley has been gearing up to become the next leader of far-right movement that has landed the Republican Party in turmoil. After Trump lost the 2020 election, Hawley announced that he would refuse to certify the Electoral College vote count in an effort to keep Joe Biden out of the White House. In addition to spreading election fraud lies, he was seen putting a fist in the air in solidarity with the Capitol rioters on January 6, 2021. A move that ultimately cost him his book deal with Simon & Schuster. In July 2022, the House committee investigating the insurrection released a clip of Hawley fleeing the Capitol in a hurry, just hours after encouraging rioters, eliciting laughter from the audience, and leading to a Missouri newspaper calling him a laughingstock. But while many Democrats and Republicans agree on their disdain for Hawley, the voters that do support him are very passionate. If Hawley was able to convince his target demographic to side with him over similar politicians like Trump, DeSantis, and Cruz, who have had more time in office to make enemies, he could become a serious contender for the White House. He has so far played coy on running for president, but experts feel confident his name will arise in talks for the next election. If you like it, do share us in the comments section below. We would love your responses. And make sure to like and subscribe Facts Insights. Don't forget to press the bell icon.